And our word for today on this Tuesday, November the 12th, our word for today is obliged. Obliged, our word for today, and here to talk about it, Kendra Von Esh. Good morning, Kendra.
Good morning, gentlemen. And Dave, I got to tell you, it wasn't the spelling. It took me forever to pronounce your last name because the spelling just tricks me up.
The last one is just too ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
At least when I was listening, the announcer ends up saying your name, and I'm like, thank you for that. I never knew how to pronounce it.
That's good.
It's too funny.
Dave himself has been mispronouncing it for years.
Yeah, right.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. Well, I'm not in a parking lot. I'm back down in Tennessee, which is good. And I love this word, obliged. Let's just review a couple definitions. Under an obligation to do something for someone, God, indebted because of a favor done.
Wow.
Jesus dying on the cross, and under a moral obligation to do something. So I used to think of obligatory, which is not exactly obliged, but I heard from a friend he used the word obligatory like it's obligatory to go to Mass on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
This was before I was on the journey, and I was like, obligatory? Like, I never really used that word in my normal day-to-day vocabulary. And I thought, oh, it's required. But technically, it's really an obligation for us. Let's just take Mass, for example, to attend and worship God. Be grateful and thankful for all that Jesus did for us to prepare ourselves to receive him, body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist. We should always be walking up as that bride down the aisle to receive our groom, but not leaving our guardian angel empty-handed. Sometimes we walk up to receive Jesus and we haven't brought an offering with us. That's kind of the whole point of the sacrifice of the Mass. We're representing the sacrifice that Jesus did for us. So let's kind of think of how obliged. It would be a favor for us to offer up our family. Maybe it's a personal situation. Maybe it's for the souls in purgatory or all the sinners in the world. I don't know if you guys ever saw this beautiful, very short, it's like under 5 minutes, YouTube video. It's called Under the Veil or Behind the Veil. Have you guys seen it?
No.
It sounds familiar, but it doesn't, it doesn't come to mind immediately.
Okay, so just search YouTube, I think, Behind the Veil, but it shows exactly what Mass is about. And as the parishioners are walking up to receive Jesus, their holy guardian angels are kind of floating next to them. Many times our guardian angels walk up there empty-handed, so let's remember that that's an opportunity for us to truly offer up that Eucharist and our prayers for ones that we love. So it's kind of one of those things where you sit there and you're like, this is a moral obligation. What else do we have to do as Catholic Christians or Christians in general? We have to pray. If we do not pray, we will not be saved. We hear that from St. Augustine, and it's one of those things that so many people struggle with. You have your ups and your downs. You have the days that you want to pray, the days that you don't want to pray, and maybe it's even leaning more on the days that you don't want to pray. And I always think of you, Dave, 5 o'clock in the morning. This was, I don't know how long ago, maybe the past Lent or 2 Lents ago, where we talked about getting up at 5. And that has been a practice that I've implemented back in my life because probably, I don't know, maybe a month ago, for about 2 or 3 months, I wasn't doing that moral obligation to offer God my morning, to pray for others, and to listen to how he wanted me to live that day. So it's really important. Prayer is something that we are obliged to do, but it's also a moral obligation so we can get to heaven.
Amen to that. And you are right. If you don't start it off well in the morning, I'm not sure how you catch up later, honestly. I find that my day goes as my morning goes most often. So thank you.
Exactly.
Kendra Von Esh, always a gem, and you really delivered for us today. A lot to think about today, and I'm going to check that out, Behind the Veil. I've heard of it too, but I've never looked for it, so I'm going to do that. Thanks for that, Kendra.
Thank you, Kendra. God bless you.